Hey guys, thanks for checking out the Bucked Up Podcast. If you wouldn't mind just hitting the subscribe button, like, sharing the video, we have new episodes coming out every Monday and Thursday. Enjoy. This episode is sponsored by Exotic Roots Hydro, which I have to give a huge shout out to. They are a huge supporter of the podcast, and I'm really happy to be working with them. If you're ever in Rochester, New York, and you need to learn about any of your hydroponic needs, go to their shop. You can follow them at Exotic Roots Hydro on Instagram. Shout out their whole team. They have an amazing venue space. They're going to be putting on tons of events. Just make sure to follow Exotic Roots Hydro on Instagram. And if you're ever in Rochester, definitely stop by. Let's get back into it. Hey guys, before we get started, I just want to say that this episode is sponsored by North Carolina underground hip hop titans E the Mad Assassin and Seven de Pantha. They recently joined forces with Polish producer Slide Beats to present their newest album, Carter and Newton: The Field Report, with a bonus track produced by Drug Beats. This album is drawing inspiration from the '97 classic debut, The War Report by Capone and Noriega. The West Coast transplants combine their respective aliases, Seven as Young Bunchy Carter and E as Graham Newton, to form their version of CNN to take the War Report into the field. Carter and Newton, The Field Report, is currently available wherever you listen to music on all streaming platforms. Welcome to the episode.
It was at this moment that he knew.
He bucked up.
Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Now you have fucked up.
You know, it's the energy. If the energy's right, cool. If not, I'm like, oh, I could be cordial.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I was lost and maybe my energy was off. When I didn't find a path yet, and that's when I was like angry or I would like lash out. But now that I feel like I do have some like a path or something that I want to offer the universe in whole, I feel like my energy is right. And now that I start liking my own energy,
Yes.
that's when the world starts accepting your energy.
Exactly. You're right about that. Self-love, self-care first.
It is like music. It's like if you can tell when an artist is making music for other people, or like a comedian when you're not trying to make yourself laugh.
Yeah.
But once you start doing it for yourself, that's
Exactly.
when other people start accepting
Indeed. You're right about that.
it. Did you? Well, you we were talking about before your podcast and stuff, but I
Yeah.
feel like, do you want to plug it before we start?
Hey, yeah. Peace to my team. Mika, our executive producer, you're the best. Mad Urgency Myron on graphics and visuals. And on video, Adam 7X, aka Mecha Godzilla, and our brother D King, who is also, he raps on our intro. He does the intro.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Is that?
yeah. He's the one who raps on our intro, and Bink is on production. So yeah, shout out to the squad chopping it up.
Having a
with
team
Conduit.
is so important too.
Yes.
Like we were talking about believing in yourself.
Yes.
But having people believe in you actually, not
Yes.
just be like, "Oh, I like your stuff." Like
Right.
really want to help you. That is another thing that's so important because you can't do it alone.
No, you can't do it alone. I'm that's something I learn every day. You know what I'm saying? Most people, don't want to ask for help because, now we're in an age where people think that's a form of weakness when necessarily most people need help, in some form of fashion. You know what I mean? And getting into this podcast game, I'm not gonna lie, like I needed help. I needed encouragement because it's not easy. There's some guests that you want to get and that you don't get. Or there's guests that you do get and they don't show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or it's just so many, I guess, what minds in the field to play with. You know what I mean? It's just about navigating it right. And I'm just really thankful that I got some great people around me to help me navigate, especially, Mika. If it really wasn't for her, honestly, we wouldn't be doing this right now. I don't know what I'd be doing.
Man, that's really important and beautiful because your ego, like you get like at least with me, like my ego would hold me back
Mm-hmm.
from like if someone stood me up, I'd be like, fuck them, like fuck them. But I don't know what like the 4 agreements. One of them is don't take anything personally.
Exactly.
And I really do try to live by that. Like no matter what happens,
Right.
like I don't take it personally. I just realize it was a situation and I move on. Because I burned so many bridges when I was younger and mad that I'm not trying to burn any bridges
Anymore.
now. Like
Yeah.
I don't want anyone out there to be like Sam Buck, he's a fucking asshole. Like
I feel you.
even if you fucked me over, like
Right. I'm always gonna be, try to be bigger about the situation. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because usually that type of positivity or that type of energy comes back full circle. It's just a matter how you handle it at that time. I know personally for me, yeah, I did get upset. And it was Mika who told me, yo, you guys, not everything's promised, you know what I'm saying? Or, even Premium Pete, I would tag him a couple times and he would hit me back and be like, yo, bro, trust me. There's days that, some guests piss me off, but that's part of it. Don't get personal. Just make sure the content you get or the people that you get, you make the most of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we've been trying to do. You know what I'm saying? First season, I didn't know that seasons consisted of, I guess, so many, however number episodes. And going in my first season, did like 22. So it was like, okay, let's take a break and then figure out how we're going to move forward, how we're going to bring something more streamlined, more clean. So it's definitely been a growing process and a learning process, but I'm loving the journey, honestly.
it is I don't even mean on like guy to guy shit, but like it's hard to sit down for an hour and have a conversation with
Yes.
someone. Like dude, like, and I'm the friend who before this I'd be like, we'll talk about your feelings even when people don't want to do that.
Right.
But even then, no one gets as real as this, and that also makes me feel better as a like I learned to conversate better now. Because like sitting down and talking about whatever it may be grows you as a person
Yes.
so much.
It's
too.
a form of therapy.
Yeah, it is. That
Indeed.
no one has long form conversations
Right.
anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not
And it's
anymore.
you work with artists, and it's probably the ego thing. It's like you probably tell your artists a lot of the same shit you need to hear yourself about things.
I mean, I try. At least with the younger ones that I work with, or even some that we in the same age. You know what I mean? might just try to, make sure my advices come about it in a peaceful manner, not trying to step on anyone's toes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes that ego, will blind a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? And if you come in subtly and they hear you and they know it's coming from a genuine place, sometimes you'll notice a change in the behaviors because of what you said. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I never try to be overbearing, micromanaging or nothing with anybody that I ever work with. You know what I'm saying? It's, let's just build and let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we move from there. You know what I mean?
And it is. You're in the field of energy. Like that's and they can read it off you too.
Yeah,
like
big
as
time.
you said, like if you're coming from not a jaded place or something,
Right.
like you're feeling it that day,
Right.
then they can read that too.
Yeah, they can definitely read that. But I'm fortunate that the energy that started me off was a righteous energy. And it was a loving energy. And that energy that was passed off to me, that's how I accepted and greeted everything that was introduced to me when I first started out in this.
What do you mean your first energy was right?
The first energy that was graced upon me was by my brother AG the Coroner. He's a MC out of East New York.
He's a dope one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
formerly of the Outdoorsmen with, Mayhem Loren and Action Bronson. And he was the first one to reach out to me. And this was over social media, out the blue through a DM. And this was during the summer where Rock Marciano had signed him to Man Bites Dog Records at the time. And if it wasn't for AG reaching out to me to ask me to be a part of his team, everything that I'm a part of now, it wouldn't have started without that first DM. So,
What did he reach out to you for?
well, he reached out for me to be a part of his street team, help him, promote, his music, help, and excuse me, A&R, things of that nature. Just, be in his corner. So that's what I did at that time. And
What were you doing before that with your life?
beforehand, I was working 9 to 5. I was working for a local neighborhood pharmacy where we delivered pharmaceuticals, and at the same time was doing, home check-ins on their nurses, on the registered nurses, making sure they were doing what they're supposed to do with our clients. And, most of the day doing visits and riding around in the van, the phone was entertainment. And Twitter was really a thing at the time where, at this time back in 2012, 2013, Twitter was definitely a different place. It's not, what it is now.
That's when I used it. I don't use it now.
Yeah. But I still use it now because there's still a core people that I've met, through that app that we're still cool with to this day, and we'll still build on things and support each other on whatever endeavors we're into. So, that's what I do. Pass time through the day. We talk about the music we love and things of that nature. And I was so heavy on Outdoorsman and AG at the time.
So you were just a fan at that point.
Yeah, man. I was just a fan. You know what I'm saying? From Action Bronson to, J Love to Mayhem Loren. Like, that's what I was listening to. Spit Gems, all them cats. And AG reached out. He was like, yo, you seen Rock sign me? And I was like, son, that's huge. He was like, I'm about to really throw everybody, in the coroner's lab. I'm about to slap them up on the table. I'm like, well, why are you reaching out to me? And he's like, I want you to be a part of my street team. I was like, well, what does that consist of, bro? Like, I just talk shit with y'all on the timeline and keep it moving. He was like, I'm going to direct you in the right direction. I'm going to send you over to Man Bites Dog Records. I'm going to introduce you to the CEO. And once you do that, you're good from there. So when he did that, I think it was roughly about a week later, I made my way down to Manassas, Virginia. This is when I was living in the D.C. area at the time. And this is how hungry I think I wanted it, because I took the train, which was transportation, then took the bus, then probably walked a good 2 miles to get to this office where Man Bites Dog Records was. And they're in a little suite. You wouldn't even know a record label was there. This is where people go to the dentist or get their eyes checked and stuff like that. These people are running a label out of this little office, out of this suite. And the CEO at the time, Ryan Lynch, he interviewed me, and right there on the spot, just off AG's word in my interview, he was like, all right, you part of the team. And July 2013, it was ever since, man. We've been rolling, we was rolling ever since. And then, of course, I grew into, other things.
Do you ever, going back to that moment, was that something that you had, always wanted, you saw in your future, or was that, a total, life-changing path?
Honestly, it was a total life-changing path.
Were you lost before that, or did you have a path?
I don't think I was lost. I think I was content with where I was. I was just working a 9 to 5. I'm raising my babies. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a relationship. I'm just keeping it moving. And, Twitter at the time was just, a thing to pass time. You know what I mean? So I could say it was probably maybe something full circle, because when I was younger, I was in a singing group.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. And
like a boy band, or
like a boy band. We looked up to New Edition. Like, that's
okay. What was the name of it?
It was Electrical Youth.
All right. If I look it up, could I find it?
I highly doubt it.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure if I
if anybody who has any kind of like footage, it would be my man Junior Bynum or Carlos Lee. Peace to my brothers, they're still out here. And being I'm from Ghana, West Africa, you know, my parents, you know, really didn't take to entertainment. Your thing was supposed to be about school, listen to your parents, and keep it moving. So, of course, as adolescents, we start, you know, growing into other things, finding other interest, in the group kind of, you know, disbanded, but we're still all cool with each other, you know.
Yeah.
I got into skateboarding and things of that nature, and guys went to different
But you
schools.
did want music to
Yeah,
be
but
your
I
future.
did. I always loved music, but I just didn't know how or where or what was going to get me to it. You know what I'm saying? Because I was already, you know, later in my life, you know, accepting that I'm working a 9 to 5 and I'm raising my babies and I'm doing what I'm
You're
doing.
content.
Yeah, I'm content. But AG sparked something in me. And when I got to
That was a very thin veiled shield. Like
Yeah.
if you did all that just like
Yeah.
there was something brimming. That
Yeah,
volcano was
so
gonna
much.
blast sometime.
Yeah, big time. And I can think that the people that I've, you know, made relationship with off Twitter, just talking music and keeping me abreast of things and
Yeah.
just keeping, you know, the excitement for me instead of me just being stuck in one place, it helped. And once I got with Man Bites, they, you know, they taught me a lot of things. And, you know, that's when, you know, I got to learn more about who Rock Marciano was. And his manager, Jazz, you know, Jazz You Ain't Gang, peace to my brothers, you know, the illustrious Pimpire.
Yeah.
And, you know, after meeting them, you know, those two gentlemen, and then giving me the game that I now have is, you know, it's been a, you know, a nice ride ever since.
So you do feel like you're like a different person. That was a life. You're a different
Yeah,
person.
definitely.
Look, how about
definitely.
now looking back on that moment?
I'm still grateful.
At that moment, did you see where you were today?
I didn't think I would be here, you know, having a podcast that's in the 3rd season. I didn't think I would be here managing Fly Anakin
Some of the best.
Mutant Academy. I didn't think I would be here, you know, to have helped and managed, you know, Uncle John in his career, or to have helped, you know, my brother Trey Chaney, who was, you know, part of the classic series, HBO series, The Wire, and he is now part of, you know, Saints and Sinners, Bounce TV, and he's, you know, doing great things now in independent film, but he's also still a, you know, a musical artist, you know, and when things come down to it, you know, him and I get together and we do what we need to do. So I honestly didn't think that, you know, from that DM from AG to Coroner, I didn't think I would be where I am now. Honestly, I did not think that.
That's crazy. What do you like? Do you believe in spirituality, like omens, like
Spirituality.
you read The Alchemist?
Oh, definitely. You know, spirituality, but definitely energy.
Mm-hmm.
And having the knowledge of myself, you know, also helps a lot. You know, it helps me navigate and help read people. So I'm just thankful for those attributes.
And it is crazy how you're part of a wave that,
Yeah.
I mean, is completely I mean, rock is probably the first of the artists,
Yeah.
like what is happening now.
That's the Godfather.
He is.
Yeah.
He really is. And Uncle John, I didn't even know
Yeah.
it was literally the first artist in this
wow.
that I would, back in 2016, I would
Yeah.
literally listen to his stuff over and over, not even knowing what it like. I
Right.
listened to Reject 2 and him. That was
Mhm.
literally like
Oh,
all
okay.
I listened to.
Yeah.
And he is like,
Yeah.
I can't wait till he gets his flowers.
Well,
He's getting them now.
He's getting them now,
but
deservedly so.
yes.
Peace to the young God, Uncle John.
But history's gonna look back.
Well, history's
at him
gonna look back
kindly.
and be like, well, why did I sleep on him at that time?
Mhm.
But, you know, people need to understand that the DC area, you know, at that time when I was we were helping each other along, you know what I'm saying? Because if it wasn't for Aunt, I wouldn't know a lot of these younger MCs. He's the one who introduced me to a Fly Anakin. He's the one who introduced me to a Mutant Academy.
Who are the next generation
he
like...
introduced me to Crime Apple, UFO Feed. Like, he introduced me to all these young cats. So if it wasn't for him, you know, Bub Rock, so on and so forth, I honestly wouldn't be where I, you know, he definitely added on to my life cycle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for him in that regard, because I would have been one of those guys who's trapped in the 90s. You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing, but then at the same time, you know, you have to grow. You know, you want to see the culture expand and move forward. You don't want to see it stuck in time.
Yeah.
And if I see these youngins who I literally feel in my heart that they're carrying on tradition, then the culture is alive and well, man.
You go to like the Supply and Demand show.
Exactly.
And I can't believe, like, I feel like an idiot I didn't know who Lord Jamonte was.
Oh, wow.
Or, like, I knew Weil and Starker, but seeing them perform.
Yes.
Or even, like, Homeboy Sandman, who's
Yes.
been in it for a minute.
For a
Shout
minute.
out him. He's guest of the podcast.
Yes.
It's like, there is, I don't, if someone says, oh, there's no good music, whatever, I literally, energy-wise, I'm like, you don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know.
You're not trying to know, or you're just literally so shut off that you only feel like it's only 90s era and that's it. That's all I should listen to. That's all I should rock with. Nah, man.
Nah, it's...
I'm thankful I'm thankful that I was taken off that path, because I could have been one of those dudes. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm really thankful to be around everything that I'm in now.
Do you like being not behind the scenes, but like that being your future in music is like being a...
Well, I mean, I kind of, it's kind of hard because I'm in front of the camera and I'm behind it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Especially
saying?
with the podcast.
Especially with the podcast and being able to, you know, speak with legends and upcoming legends. You know what I mean? It's definitely a balance. You know, I just try to, you know, with the help, you know what I'm saying, of my circle, they tell me to pick and choose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pick and choose. So I'm learning that. Whereas when I was in DC, you know, it's whatever's coming to town, you are a part of. You know, and whatever came to town, you know, I happened to work in the prestigious building where they would come through. Mm-hmm. So I was fortunate in that sense. So I was always a part of something. But now, you know, moving here to New York, and man, there's something every day.
When did you move?
I moved here March 13th, 2021.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn, recently.
Recently.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay. There is something. Because I live in Mass and I still come here and it's like, oh, shit. Like, Madlib was last night. I was so mad I missed that. Or Wiki. Like, Wiki was last night. Another thing. I'm so happy that the scenes are combining.
Yes.
Like the navy blue and the Wiki and the mic and the like the Rat King. It's like,
all of them.
It's combining with the kind of like harder, grimier stuff.
Exactly.
Because they're all fucking amazing.
I mean, I think so too. But, you know, it's funny how people were complaining about, you know, certain things not being, I guess, not being there or having a certain light shown on them. But I honestly tend to think it's different because, you know, a lot of this underground stuff wouldn't have introduced me to a lot of people. It wouldn't have introduced me to you.
No.
You know what I mean? So I'm just thankful for the journey. And
it's the love that the scene pulls in. Like when I was young, when I was like 16, I got in a bad hockey accident.
Oh, wow.
That's how I got into stand-up.
Okay.
I had to lay in a dark room for a month. I couldn't listen to music. All I did was listen to people talk. I couldn't even talk myself. So I just listened to podcasts and stand-up.
Okay.
Fast forward here. But then when I was 17, I wanted to go to comedy clubs and I wanted to go to rap shows. And I was young, but I would go by myself. And the love that I would feel from everyone at that, like talking to Conway when I was 18 years old for 45 minutes about comedy, or like going to comedy clubs and the comedians bringing me backstage, like
Yes.
Todd Glass, and
Oh, wow.
he was opening up for Jim Gaffigan on that tour, and I was on his podcast when I was 18 twice. Like,
Wow.
just the love that the scene shows that it's the energy. Like,
Exactly.
you picked the right
You picked the
group
right
to be a part of.
Exactly. It's like today we were walking our puppy, and
What type of dog do you have?
Shiba Inu. And,
I'm gonna have to see a picture after this.
And yeah, her name is Dilla, and she happens to be the official mascot for the J Dilla Foundation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ma Dukes and Tony definitely gave us our blessing.
Oh
So,
my God, that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, and my fiance, she was telling me this morning, she was like, you have to find your tribe. And, how you speak of, the love of, how our community is, we honestly have our own tribe.
It's kind of like attention is the universal currency.
Indeed.
That's what I say. So I don't like to pay attention to things that aren't beneficial for me.
Exactly.
And the more I do that, the more I don't watch the news unless it's or I don't pay attention to people who aren't passionate or determined.
Right.
My community and my world always gets better.
Yes.
And I didn't even people do say that. But until you witness it or you start
Or
doing
you're
it
part of it.
yourself,
Exactly.
you don't even realize that.
Nope.
It's like the energy thing. You can't quantify it. Our
Nope.
language isn't developed enough to quantify what it is.
Exactly.
But it's still real.
It's still
and
real.
It's still there.
Indeed.
You know?
Yeah.
It's
Indeed.
like I don't know. I went after we were talking before. After my DMT trip, I went pretty far down into spirituality. I don't know. Do you know A.A. Rashid?
Yeah, of course.
So I've talked to him. He's the king of that.
He be spitting on a lot of gun stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I know of the God.
That's that's one of my favorite interviews I've ever had. But I really do believe the voice in your head that's trying to pull you to be your better self.
Yeah.
And then the resistance voice that's pulling you away.
Exactly.
And I have been lazy and listening to resistance a little bit more now that shit's opening back up.
Yeah.
When you're in New York.
Right.
So stuff's happening all the time.
All the time.
So it's hard to stay on your routine. I have a morning routine I liked to do during quarantine that kept me calm. I would wake up, I would meditate, I would do yoga, I would journal, I would run. But now that I'm out late performing and there's shit always happening, I'm not keeping my mental level the same.
Okay.
And that's a hard balance.
Right.
I don't know. Is that something you felt? I just went on a tangent of my own right
Well,
there,
I mean, honestly, I'm now learning to gain more balance.
you mind turn on the AC?
I'm just now learning how to, I'm just learning how to chant. Like I said, if it wasn't for my fiance, I wouldn't be thinking about certain things, or I wouldn't be doing certain things.
So I actually don't know about chant. I mean, I know, but what does it do for you? How do you practice it?
Well, I mean, it calms me.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely calms me because, there's certain things that I go through. You know what I'm saying? And there's certain things that everybody goes through, and she introduced that to a part of my life to help calm me, because certain things, that I've been through, within my lifetime, still quote unquote haunt me. You know what I'm saying?
PTSD.
Yeah. So, if it wasn't for the chanting, you know what I'm saying, there wouldn't be some mornings I wouldn't be able to start my day. You know what I'm saying? And it helps. It helps. There's a lot of things that I'm being, open to now that I was very rigid about beforehand. I was just very cut off at the door. No, because I'm a person that's used to walking on his feelings, meaning that I'm going to compartmentalize the shit and I'm going to keep it moving. But, as I've learned, in growing in my relationship, that there's certain things that fester and gnaw at you, and they come out in different ways. You know what I'm saying? But there are solutions to alleviate that. And one of those things that have helped as of late has been chanting. So, I'm definitely, thankful for that.
I was listening to your interview with Fonte, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how like sometimes you don't even realize you're depressed.
Yeah,
Like
you're
you don't
right.
even like you could be thinking everything's going fine, but you don't
Exactly.
realize
And you don't
you're
know
in
it.
that. And it's funny, like when you said like I couldn't even start my day sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I've been in the place where I've been like laying in bed for
Yeah.
a couple hours in the morning, and like it could be because of a late night.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other times where I can just get out and do it.
Right.
And it's because I haven't stayed on my shit. Like
Mm-hmm.
really the only thing that holds you back is resistance. Like
Yes.
there's no reason I can't get out of bed and meditate for 15 minutes every
Mm-hmm.
day, even though I know it makes me feel better, other than the excuses I tell myself.
Right.
And that's such a hard thing, is like not listening to the excuses you tell yourself.
Well, that's the thing. How you were saying, there's the resistance inside, and then there's the other one that pulls you to do positive. There's a duality in everything. You know how they say, you know, there's a God in you, there's a devil in you too. You know, it's about righteousness and devilishment. Which way you gonna go, or how you gonna go about it? You know what I mean? I just try to stay on my dean, or should I say, I always try to stay on my square. You know, 24/7, 365. I know there's days that I do happen to fall off, and sometimes I punish myself for that. You know what I'm saying? But in the end, it's always trying to do right. You know what I'm saying? I'm later in my life now, man. I might not look at when I meet people and say, I'm 48 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So a lot of things that I've received now, you know what I'm saying, I look at it as blessings. You know what I'm saying? It's things that are coming to me and are added on to my life cycle right now that I need to cherish, that I need to hold on to, but at the same time I need to celebrate it, you know what I'm saying? And that adds on to what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to live long, you know what I'm saying? I want to live long, but I want to live long, you know, in a good way. You know what I'm saying? If I could keep passing on that energy to whoever I come in contact with, you know, whether it's through music, whether it's through podcasting, you know what I'm saying, or whether it's just meeting somebody in the street and I got to drop some knowledge, then it helps. It helps me.
Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by 607 Sound. They're executive producing a new album called Integrated Affinity Volume 1, featuring artists from the 607 like Blicka Don, Anthony Cannon, MBK Ritchie, and more, as well as artists you've seen on Bucked Up like Jay Skis, Brother Tom Sos, and Deuce Ellis. There's going to be a ton of others that I hope to get on the podcast, like Tony Boy, Gaines, Chill Ali, Camouflage Monk, and Origino. Keep up with 607 Sound through their website and socials, and stay tuned for the album released. Let's get back to the show. I want to live long too, and that sounds dumb, but it's like I'm 24 years old.
It doesn't sound dumb, trust me.
I'm 24, and I still feel that like early 20s ego sometimes, where it's like I still want to but I know that the more I quell that, I calm down. But I still feel like it's hard. It's hard. Like
It's hard.
it's hard to know what you're supposed to do. I didn't realize what I was supposed to do until no one taught me any of this stuff.
Okay.
Growing up. So I
Right.
had to learn how to like take care of my mental state, take care of my heart, take
Right.
care of my body,
Yes.
my own way later in life.
Right.
So I still have all those bad old tendencies in me. And that's where the ego is like, no, you grew up this way, you can go back to that way.
Well, that's like we were speaking on duality. You know, misery loves company.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, I mean, you see yourself now. You're growing. You know what I'm saying? You're continuously growing. You say you're 24. You know what I'm saying? My son's 24. You feel me? My daughter's 25. I got a grandson that's 3 years old.
Wow.
So you still got you still got your life ahead of you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's okay to make mistakes. That's what I want you to, y'all youngers to understand. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to experience and explore. But at the same time, if somebody is telling you something, and it's usually they just trying to tell you for your own good, is because they've been there before. You know what I mean? You don't have to take that advice. You can go through it however you're going to go through it. But at least you have that precursor. If somebody's letting you know what's right and what's wrong. You know what I mean? So trust me, man, 24, bro, man, you got your life in front of you, man. I'm 24 years older than you, man. You know what I'm saying? I have a son your age. So
But I guess that's what that I was trying to describe before is the like it's hard to listen to advice when you're 24.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I want to fucking live it my
Right,
way.
exactly.
Especially when things start to go well.
Right.
Not that this is like, but when things start to happen, it's almost more like, I don't want to listen to
Right.
any advice. But I know what the ego is, and that's what I know I need to break down.
yeah, I mean, as long as you know that, where you're explaining that to me, trust me, man, you're gonna be fine. And it sounds like you got some good people around you too now who care about your well-being and want to see you, flourish. You know what I'm saying? I me coming here to the studio and just the love being received by your partners here, it's an awesome feeling. So
I appreciate that.
it's honestly, I think y'all already doing something right. You know what I mean? Just keep working and keep building and keep spreading that energy, and it usually comes back tenfold.
And you coming and giving your time, like I appreciate that for real. Like
I was stoked, man, because you're the second person that had me on. Shout out to the homie King Low out of Canada. He just interviewed our brother Bronze Nazareth.
Oh, okay,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Yeah, and he reached out to me and he was like, I want to interview all of my peers. And that's something I know I'm going to do and I want to do. But just to receive that love now, you know what I'm saying? It was awesome. And for you to even invite me, like, hell yeah, I'll come and kick it with you, bro. Like,
Thank you, man.
That ain't nothing, man.
How old were you when you got that DM?
Shoot, when I got that DM 2013, that's what, 8 years ago? Yeah, 8 years ago?
Yeah.
I was 39, 40. Yeah, 39, 40.
Content is a good feeling, but it's a veil over not depression, but over sadness. Like it's when you're content, you're not growing.
Right.
Kevin Hart said, like, he was saying, like, there's different levels to the video game of life.
Yeah, big time.
And once you complete a level, sometimes you want to just stay there.
You want to stay there.
But nah, you gotta keep leveling
keep going,
up.
and that's the thing that I've learned. Like, it's never too late. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're passionate about it and you love it. But then, what also helps if you have good people around you.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Like, that really helps a lot. Like, I'm fortunate I can speak with Mika every day about things. I'm fortunate I can call my brother Adam and speak with him on things. It's cool that I can call my brother Myron, who's also on the team, and talk to him about things other than the podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just about having good energy, man.
I feel like that's a problem I'm dealing with now is I get so wrapped up in what's going on that I don't give time to decompress and not talk about, like, talk to my friends that don't have anything to do with anything, like, or talk to my friends about nothing. Like, it doesn't need to be business 24/7
No,
or
it
what do I
doesn't.
have to do next. I don't give myself days to rest, but then I max out my energy.
Well, but you got to understand though, you're 24 now, and you're in your life cycle where you're experiencing things for yourself. You're growing as a comedian, you're growing as a podcaster. So it's only right to be out here trying to chase the things to solidify your life later on down the line.
Yeah.
Don't shoot yourself in the foot. You know what I'm saying?
No, I got you.
But at the same time, just, be mindful of the energy that you disperse every day. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's leeches out here, and then there's people who replenish you. You get it? Deal with the ones who replenish you. You'll be able to
I know
decipher
exactly.
the difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll have somebody who constantly drain. Once you recognize that, okay, I can keep this person at arm's length. But then here's another person I can feed into. Oh, but wait a minute. They're feeding into me as well. It creates a positive energy. It creates a positive cycle, which creates growth. You know what I'm saying? And that growth can turn into amount of anything that you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you're working on your stand-up right now and you're doing comedy and everything, but who's to say next year you won't be starring in your own feature film with a bunch of other comedians, you know what I'm saying? Or who's to say that one day, you might open up for my brother Dave Chappelle. You never know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or this podcast being in one of the top 10 that people listen to. You know what I'm saying? Long as you put that energy out there.
Well, that goes back to what we were saying before. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I could sit down with you and like ask you the questions that I know would get like a shit ton of views on you. But I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to have a conversation that I want to have because I've learned a lot just in the 40 minutes that we've talked so far. That I don't care about any of that other shit. I just want the knowledge. Like, I'm not doing this for listens or whatever, and I think that's why people do want to listen in.
Well, see, because it's coming from an organic place.
Yeah.
And people gravitate to what's organic, and they usually stick and support with what's organic.
It's funny that AG gave you your first that, because one of the first guests that really gave me the okay people was Hologram. Shout out Hologram.
That's crazy. See,
he doesn't do interviews.
He doesn't do interviews. And that's the degrees of separation right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Hologram.
Shout out to Hologram.
That's crazy.
He's about to open up for Action and Mayhem in Boston and Philly.
Boston.
I'm gonna be at that show.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he's gonna be special guesting at a different show in Boston that same week.
Wow.
This will be out by that time. He's gonna be at the Benny the Butcher show in Boston too, which is he just dropped his debut album with Muggs.
See, with Muggs,
grinding
and been grinding.
He gave me my for real. I don't know why he agreed to do it. It was like episode 20 or something. it was cool and the love in the scene. Like
exactly.
When you said that, I was like, oh shit, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the community, man.
Yeah.
It's always the community, man.
Man, who was the first artist you took under your wing?
The first under my wing, or should I say, partner with would be Trey Chaney.
Okay, out of DC?
Yeah, out of Washington D.C. He played Poot on HBO series The Wire.
Yeah.
You know, he was Bodie's right hand man, and then he was the first artist that I started working with, and that was in 2015.
Wow. What made you want to do that? Manage.
Well, honestly, it was
partner.
Honestly, he asked me to be a part of his team. It came from, there was a show that we're putting together. Shout out to my mentor, one of my mentors, DJ Zoo. There was a show they were having at the Howard Theater, and it was the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. And that show was Rakim and Big Daddy Kane. Mm-hmm. And Trey Chaney was opening for the show.
Oh, wow.
So Trey and I were already following each other on Twitter, but I was already a Wire fan. So I was stoked that somebody from The Wire would interact with me time and time. And then when I found out that he was opening for the show, I was like, oh, well, shit, we coming with Rakim. You know, we'll link up when we get to the theater and build in the physical for the first time.
Yeah.
Get to the theater, and he asked me to help out with a sound check just to see how it would go. And helped him out with a sound check, and I think once he's done with the sound check, he just pulled me to the side. He was like, bro, I want you part of my squad. And I was like, you sure? And he's like, yeah, man, like let's do this. I was like, all right, say less. We did the show with, Big Daddy and Rakim to a sold-out Howard Theater. The next show, we open up for Belle Biv DeVoe. Then the next show, we open up for Bobby Brown. Then the next show, we open up for Arrested Development. Then the next show, the next show. That ended up leading us to getting spot date, anytime Snoop Dogg would come in town, he ended up opening for Snoop Dogg. And he even called us to come down to Atlanta to open for him at State Farm Arena. So, just for him asking me during that one sound check, it turned into, him, still building his music career, but, now he's in Atlanta killing it,
Yeah.
on Bounce TV with, Saints and Sinners, and then he's doing his own independent films. A lot of them you can see him on, Amazon Prime or Tubi and things of that nature. Like he's doing some great work out here.
That's and you were like 38 or 39
Yeah,
when
at
this
that
passed.
time. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, honestly, like friends of mine who are in their 30s feel like that's it.
That's it.
Like
yeah.
that's literally what that's their path for the rest of their life.
Yeah, because
And-
that's what we've been told.
yeah.
Because that's what we've been told. I was one of those people. I was content getting up every day, Monday through Friday, going to check on children and senior citizens and things of that nature. I was cool with that. But just talking music and this rapper from New York, he don't know me from a can of paint. He just knows my tweets. And there's a thing about energy. It's in what you put out there.
Yeah.
He saw something in me, and here I am.
Just like everything else, you have to work on your energy.
Big time. That's every day.
I know when my energy's off.
I do too.
And it's so shitty because you almost like don't want to admit it to yourself.
Exactly.
And that's when you get mad. You're like, my energy's not. And
Exactly.
it's like, oh shit, why did I react that way?
Exactly. You're right.
What else do you do to keep it under, like, do you have like a routine?
I mean, it's besides if it isn't chanting, binging, binging TV with my lady.
I was just watching Better Call Saul. I watched it all in like 2 weeks or
Okay.
something. Yeah.
We just, binge Squid Games. You know what
I'm like
saying?
5 episodes in, and everyone's like the 6th episode's so crazy, and I don't.
I'm not no spoiler alert from
No, I
you, bro.
know.
And keep enjoying.
All right,
Yes.
I'm excited for it.
Cannabis, of course, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is definitely a good pastime. Love of food.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Of course, my babies, my children, my grandson. You know what I'm saying? Just music in general. You know what I mean?
From the artists that you partner with,
Yeah.
I feel like that mentality shows through.
Yeah.
And that's why I really like,
Oh.
from like Uncle John
Yeah.
to fucking like whatever, like Fly Anakin, Pink Suit, that's all like caring about your energy
Yeah.
and working on it comes through in the music, which I don't think was there. And that's why, or even the other, what we were talking about, like Mike or Navy Blue or Wiki or
Right.
even Rock.
Even
like
right, yeah. The Godfather.
The Godfather. It's
Yeah,
all
but-
about positive.
But see, that's the thing. Like, it's not even what I brought around; it's what they taught me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And because remember, I'm the one coming into this. This is all new to me, so they're the ones who are teaching me and showing me certain things. So I have to be thankful in that regard because, we're in a place where people think that if you share certain information, that you're trying to move past them or something like that, and that's not the case. You know what I mean? So whoever have been around. And
What do you
they've-
mean by that when you pass the information you're
I
trying
mean,
to get?
like there's this, there's a saying about the word. There's a negative connotation to the word gatekeeper, meaning one who would just hold information that that will help benefit you in what you're trying to learn, so you can move forward. There's some who won't share that at all. There's some who claim and say that they do it. I know some, personally, but I'm not here to shit on nobody.
Yeah,
You feel what I'm saying?
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's shown in the relationships. Relationships that used to exist don't exist. And then there's some relationships that have been built and that have flourished and have stayed that way. You know what I'm saying? So it's a matter of who's willing to share, you know what I'm saying? And whatever was shared to me, I make sure I pass it down. What good is it for me holding it?
Yeah.
What good is it going to do me?
Well, that's what the podcast is great for, and probably why you do it. Like, you can just so much knowledge is dropped in
Yes.
conversation.
Yes.
And you can put those out there with
Yes.
people who actually want to share
Exactly.
knowledge. And as you said, some people cancel, some people stand you up. They don't want to share knowledge, and not fuck them, but like maybe their knowledge shouldn't be shared.
Yeah, not all, not all knowledge is applicable. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People say knowledge is power. Not all knowledge is applicable. You feel what I'm saying? Some people can say some stuff, but can you put it in a situation where it be tangible? You feel what I'm saying? So,
Because I've had people tell me things, and I'm like, all right,
Right.
and then I experience it,
right,
and that's what we were talking about before the
Exactly.
ego, where it's like, oh shit, that's exactly what they
Right.
were talking, whatever it be.
exactly. And I'm not coming from a place where I want what you want. I just don't want to be in the dark. So while I don't know, that person doesn't have an advantage over me where they can take advantage of me. I just want to make sure I'm on point.
Yeah.
If anything, that's the reason why I'm asking for the information. I want to be on point. Most people want to be on point. That's literally what it is. So, whatever it is that you happen to share, and it helps me stay on my square, and it helps keep me on point, but it also helps forward that other person's life in some way, form, or fashion, then I'm doing my duty. And at the same time, you doing your duty because it's being passed on. So
You're talking about like the knowledge is power, and it's kind of like I want everyone to win. I don't want everyone to win. I want everyone who has determination and
Exactly.
passion to win.
to win.
If you're not determined
Right.
over a long period of time, I don't care if you can put a year into it. Who gives a fuck
gives a
about
fuck
a
about
year?
that?
Who can?
Right.
This isn't something I'm trying to just do to get on and then pass off.
Right.
This is something I'm trying to do 10, 15 years
Yeah.
from now.
I'm
Like,
in this.
when I was in that dark room, I was listening to Joe Rogan a lot. And
Okay.
whatever people say about him, I was listening to episode 400. He's now on like 1700 or something.
Right.
And not that I'm listening to him now all the time, but it's like he kept going. And that's a path I'm trying to do. I'm
Right.
trying to make it long term.
Right. And
I
see, I know what you mean by long term. I'm trying to take it there
It's
too.
what Nipsey said, the marathon.
Exactly.
Like,
It's a marathon. You know what I'm saying? So, there's a wealth of podcasts out there that I still go back to, that I draw from. And even new ones that are out here now that I draw from. And how can we present ours, differently, but still draw the people in? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
whereas like this season, a lot of people probably thought that I was gonna have more of my legend friends on there, and that's cool. I love them. They're coming. But my executive producer was like, let's focus on the people behind the MC. There's a reason why we love the people we listen to, but let's go behind it and find out how they got here.
yeah.
So we talked to producers.
You just had Nicholas Craven.
Exactly.
on.
We just had Nicholas Craven, you know what I'm saying, from, out of Montreal.
One of the best producers.
One of the
like,
best producers in the game out right now.
His stuff with Ransom.
Yes, killer.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Like
Timeless.
for real. Like
Yes.
Yeah. And shout out Big Ghost. I love you, Big Ghost.
Ghost-
But like,
Yo, Big
I
Ghost
love
knows what
his
time is
shit
it.
with- I love his shit. With
Ghost
fucking-
is in a class by himself, because to see Ghost work with, first, I seen him work with Crime, just even what he did with Griselda.
Vic Spencer.
Vic Spencer.
UFO.
UFO. Uncle John.
Uncle John.
You understand what I'm saying?
Van
And
Ghost was like one of the
Van
most.
Ghost was crazy. Even what he's
insane
doing now
album.
with Eddie Kane.
Just dropped today.
Yeah,
That shit was
exactly.
insane.
What he's done with Conway. Even what he's done with Ghostface Killer. He's my top MC.
Ghostface.
Yeah, that's he.
You
I
ever
love-
work with them or do any?
I mean, I've
hung
known
with him or-
I've known Ghost since 2014. That's my brother, and whenever we see each other, even if it's in work capacity, we don't talk about music.
Yeah.
It's always about, hey, how you doing? How you been? Like, the last time I got to see him, I think 2019, he came through to Washington, D.C., him and Ray. Came through to go visit them, see them at the show, cool. Then I haven't seen him since, but then the last time he came through was at Bushwick Collective. That was a couple weeks back. He was the main. And we backstage, we chilling or whatever. And as soon as he see him on contact, he looked, he's like, yo, what are you doing here? And he's like, come over. I'm like, come on, let's go holler. And he's like, we talk, hug. He's like, yo, what are you doing here? I'm like, I live here now. He's like, no more DC, son? Like, nah, I'm here. It's like, all right, man, we about to connect. We you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a genuine love, from there, you know what I'm saying? Like, it isn't even about the music, even though I love his music too, but there's a more deeper reason why he's, my number one. You know what I mean? It's definitely beyond the music. Shout out to my brother, Don P, and my brother K, and Cino. That's that's Raekwon's family. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones who introduced me to Ghost.
Oh wow.
If it wasn't for them introducing me to Ghost and Ray, also my brother Angel and Woo Mommy. None of and it's all relationships that came from Twitter, bro. All relationships. So it's all about energy, man.
Yeah, it is. It's like, it really is. It's like Conway, like
Yes.
him showing me love, and then at the Boston show coming up to me and being like, I remember you. You're the comedian. We go and chill. Like,
Yeah.
fucking, it's cool. It is the energy and getting love from people. Like, I got to open up for Inspector Deck in Capadonna.
Oh, wow.
Which was pretty cool a couple months ago.
Okay.
And, like, my dad took me to see Wu-Tang Clan when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
Like, I grew up, like, I knew all the words. I've said this so many times on the podcast that people are so upset by it. But, like, I knew all the words to The Predator by Ice Cube when I was 6. Like, that's what I grew up.
Okay.
That's what my dad, like, played.
All right.
Like, my mom took me to see Lil Wayne when I was 13 years old. Like,
So
I grew up in
this. Yeah.
And I love it. And I come still to this day as a fan.
That's dope,
Always
man.
as a fan. Like, I'm not trying to get... It's cool that I get to have conversations with anybody.
Exactly.
Anybody. Whether it be UFO Feeve doing my first live podcast I ever did at the Tiny Cupboard in Brooklyn.
Oh,
like,
wow.
He didn't ask to be pet. He just showed up and did the live podcast. Like, real love and shit.
Twin
Like,
is dope, man. Feeve,
he's a different breed.
he's a different breed. I know when he did my pod, he was literally shooting a video in what was it? I think in Jersey or Pennsylvania at a paintball site. And him and the crew were just coming back from shooting paintball in the video. But he still held his obligation. And that's when it became deeper than just him and I knowing each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, he's definitely one of the solid ones. He understands. He knows. You know what I'm saying?
He does.
He's going to be around for a long time, and he's got the right people around him, too, for Fat Joe, you know what I'm saying, to, even Black Rob starting him off, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To even his father, who's been in this business, for forever. So he has great minds around him that's, keeps him level, and it shows and proves in his personality and who he is when you see him and you see him in public.
And he's actually a dope MC, too. Like, his newest project, The Most High.
Yeah, The Most High.
That is...
Yeah, Fee's
I've
been
gone back to
putting
that
straight
song.
fire out here
Straight fire,
for consistently.
Ever since that Ghost album.
Yes.
Night, the Terminology one was
Yes.
fire, too.
Yeah, or even the one he dropped with Static.
Night... Oh, my...
Yeah, we can go. He's consistent.
Consistent.
Yeah.
That's what I really like about, like we were talking about Gumbo.
Mm-hmm.
That shit's so long, but it's so consistent, and it has so many... He's a
Yeah.
composer.
Yeah.
I realized with that project that he's like a West Side Gun or a Kanye West. Or he's a composer.
Yeah, he's very, 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 very creative. He's a different soul. He's a different spirit, and I'm thankful for, for Fly introducing me to him. And, he's definitely one of my young guys. Like all the young
Pink
young ones
Sifu.
are-
I'm sorry, I didn't
yeah,
say the
see, it's
name.
all good.
Like,
All the young guys, that's like it's like my little bro. Like I fucks with him heavy, even though he a giant out here. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? They just, you know, meeting these young guys, man. They show so much respect and reverence. You know, people got to understand that there's a difference. These kids were brought up right. You feel what I'm saying? They have manners. They know the history. You can tell. You know, their thirst for wanting to know things beyond the music is what's even more refreshing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just glad to be in the thick of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man, thank you so much for doing this. This is really a great conversation.
Oh,
I'm
man,
really
you're
happy
more
we
than
got
welcome,
to do
man.
this.
Yeah,
For real,
man,
thank you.
for having me, man.
Of
And
course.
yo, shout out to Too Much Content. Yo, this is a dope ass set, man. Bucked up. My man Sam right here. Yo, I appreciate you, man. Your energy is right and exact, man. Thank you for having me. And
Thank you.
you know, anytime, you know, you just want to kick it, you want to build, you need some knowledge or whatever, man, my line's always open.
Man, thank you. That means a lot, for
Yeah,
real. It really
definitely.
does.
And for the people out there, man, y'all be sure to be on the lookout for Fly Anakin's new album, Frank, be dropping soon, you know what I'm saying? We got the first single, Sean Price, dropping, which was produced and featuring Evidence, you know what I'm saying? So
Oh, I can't wait.
we
to hear
working here, you know what I'm saying? Along with some Mad Lib joints, unreleased Mad Lib joints. Yo, we coming, man. Shout out to my Mutant Academy family as well.
that. Plug your own shit, too.
Oh, yeah.
You
shout
got
out-
your own
yeah.
shit, too.
Shout out to Chopping It Up with the Conduit podcast, man. Again, shout out to my executive producer, Mika Sunga. You're the best. Shout out to my brother, Mad Urgency Myron, who's on graphics and visuals. You know, he's the one who always comes up with the great, dope promo. And then shout out to my brother, Adam 7X, a.k.a. Mecha Godzilla, who's on video and stuff behind the scene as well. Shout out to D King, and the super producer Bink.
Check that podcast
check
out.
the podcast
It's dope.
out, man. We on podcasts on Vivo. We on Spotify.
You've had some of the greatest.
Oh man, I'm
like,
thankful to them. A lot of those guests, man. I'm thankful to a lot of them where I can, I don't have to just DM them. I can literally text or call them and get some just simple advice, and they're always there for me. So, thank you to each and every guest that's been on Chopping It Up with the Conduit, and peace and thank you to the future guests that will be on Chopping It Up with the Conduit. We just want to keep bringing you good and original content.
dope. Man,
Dope.
thank you so much.
Thanks again,
Peace
man.
out, guys.
Peace.